right, yo, I don't even know. I don't even know what we're talking about, man. Episode 1, guys.
What's
Welcome.
our name?
That's our name, Critical Hitz. Welcome to episode 1 of our very first podcast. I hope you guys are having a very wonderful day. My name is Scout.
I am Genelite Gaming.
That is Genelite Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because we are talking some very heavy topics, including Destined Rivals and the newest Pokemon Pocket set. Genelite, what's the deal, man? Talk to me.
Dude, first thing I'll say, like, I can't, and this is something that everybody in the community agrees with. I can't keep up with Pocket. Like, if you think that the real life cards come out quickly,
yeah,
Pocket is releasing sets, intentionally, mind you, faster than you can collect because they want people to spend money, right? Like, if they released even a month slower, I still don't think everybody would, I don't think everybody would have all the cards for the sets, not even close.
Yeah.
But, like, the new set came out. It's absolutely lit. It's Solgaleo Lunala. It's gonna hopefully change the meta a little bit.
Really?
Which
So
Pocket's been interesting.
They jumped from Gen, what? They were at Gen 5? Or were they No, they were at Gen 4,
the
right? Last thing I saw was...
The last set they did was Shining Revelry, which was actually, like, a special set, right? It's like Shining Fates. Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, they went from... So you're thinking of Space Time Smackdown, which was Dialga Palkia.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. And then they went Triumphant Light, which was Arceus.
Yes,
or
okay.
Arceus,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep, I saw that.
And then Shining Revelry was the Shining Charizard. It had, like, Shining Charizard. It had, like, the Giratina Illustrator.
Shining Charizard in Pocket already?
Yeah, it's...
Bro, that is crazy. But, I mean, granted, like, Pocket... You can print more sets, right? And like as far as the TCG goes, the actual TCG, you know, they're, literally shilling out new sets. What? Every 4 to 6 months is what it feels like, right? But Pocket,
exactly.
I didn't know. You just named 2 sets that I didn't know had appeared, right? And it's been what, like probably 2 or 3 months since I've opened Pokemon Pocket.
Yeah, no, I think they're releasing, and I can look this up, but I'm pretty sure they're releasing sets like every 2 months.
That's insane, bro.
It's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Oh my god. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Pocket right now? Like from both a player standpoint and a collecting standpoint, because like the artworks, just being able to open that up on my phone, you know, and people could compare this to like Get Collector, where you pull up your collector app and you're like, look what raw cards I have in my collection, right, to show your buddies because you don't have your binder with you. But like sometimes I look at Pocket and I just think, holy hell, that's a really cool Pokédex to look at and to have. But it's a lot of cool artworks to enjoy that I wish had physical cards.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, so Pocket has amazing concepts when it comes to art concepts. Like, I love the artwork. I love the immersive arts that they have. So those are the cards that you click and it like takes you into the artwork.
You get to see like what's happening. Yeah, like a whole Looney Tunes kind of card. Yeah.
Exactly. So those are all really cool. Obviously, you couldn't do that in real life, but even the artworks, to your point, I think that they would just destroy if you printed them, and they probably plan to. I think the thing about Pocket, I think I've already talked about this. They're probably releasing sets too fast. And the other piece is there's really no way to view each other's collections on the app, which I actually think, and I think it might be intentional.
Okay.
Because I think they want people to still go show the cards to people. I don't think they want it to be fully digital.
So you can't trade cards yet. You can't I can't go to you and
you can trade. No, you can trade, but you can't see other people's collections.
Interesting, dude. How cool would that be, though? Don't you have community showcases that you can go and like their showcase? Is that
you can show like a card or two, or like you can put collections of cards together that are selected, but it can only be 20 cards. So it's kind of like having a little binder, right? It's not. You can't go in and be like, what does your Pokédex look like? Right?
Gotcha.
And it's even hard to see all the cards you're missing, right? Like you have to click like 3 buttons and go into the settings and like hit these buttons to even see like the secret rares. But like there is like 4 or 5 steps you have to take to even see the entirety of the set, right? To see the master set.
Wow. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy. Now, do you think that is something worthwhile for them to add? Do you think that they should add a feature inside a community showcase or revamp community showcase where you can see everybody's Pokédex, right? Or, you know, just like ranking it from rarest to, you know, common cards?
I think it depends on where they want to go, right? And it's very similar to Pokemon Go in the sense that a lot of people talked about Pokemon Go and doing Pokédex battles, right? So like put my Pokédex up against your Pokédex, right? See who's collected more.
Yeah.
I think that never happened. And so for me, I don't think that they're going to do it for Pocket either. Right now, they're heavily investing in the rank system, right? They built out this came out probably 2-3 months ago. Pocket ranked now exists, right? Pokeball tier through Master Ball tier and how you progress up through that. So I don't know. I think that they should definitely make it easier for people to see if they have the Master Set or not. Just like playing, like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to they'll probably do certain events to, like, they'll do some updates to the showcase, but I think that they're going to try and find a way to monetize it, to be honest with you.
Oh, God, yeah. Come on, dude. They're a $10 billion company. Well, they're not going to waste an opportunity to make money.
Just to be clear, you're missing a digit. They're $100+ billion company.
$100+ billion. I was talking about just Pocket itself, right? Pocket itself obviously just
yeah. I have no idea how much Pocket is worth, but yeah. No, so I think Pocket, really good artwork. I actually think that the ranked play is really clean. It's fast. It's engaging. I like the deck size. This is a lot of the stuff that you and I have talked about previously. Obviously, this is episode 1, but you and I talk a lot about the differences between Pocket and the trading card game, right? Even trading card game live. I think it has all of those things going for it in regards to like ease of use, really cool artworks, all that kind of stuff. And it's new, right? There's things that they're going to improve upon for sure. Yeah. But yeah.
Now, so I do have a question for you because this was something that I thought was really interesting because I had a conversation with somebody about this a couple days ago. But do you remember when Pokemon Go released, right? And do you remember the updates and the changes that they were making to it within the first 18 months of it being in our hands, being on our phones, right? Do you remember how many consistent updates they had and how much information they were taking from the fan base, from the player base? Right?
Yes.
And so do you think that Pokemon cares more about updating Pocket and staying up to date with what people are requesting and trying to keep it fresh more so than how they treated Pokemon Go back in 2016? Or do you feel like they're similar?
Oh, man. That's a hard comparison. I would say they're similar. Okay. My answer would be that they're similar, right? Yeah. Like, basically when they released trades, people weren't having it. There was an absolute riot around how trading was done. And they released an entire article, and they put out a post, and they put out a roadmap of like, this is everything that's going to happen with trading. We hear your thoughts. We're going to do that. I think, I'll be honest with you. I think when Pokemon Go came out, it was so innovative, and it was so widely accepted. Again, Pokemon Go's release is quite possibly the most successful software release of all time.
I would 100% agree with you. I mean, because my grandparents were playing it, right? Like they were, well, not were they playing it, right? But they were just using it as a tool to interact with their grandkids, right? Because they had heard us playing Pokemon, on our, Game Boys and Nintendo DSs, right? But they just, like, the idea that you could release a software that was so, you just said, innovative, that anybody could play it or understand it. Yeah, and I mean, it was just literally, you could just sit there, chat with you, and just say, oh, look, I got an alert as, this Pokemon's at a Pokestop, or this Pokemon just appeared nearby, right? Oh, you want to walk over there real quick? The amount of exercise I got as, a 19-year-old when that game came out, unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I don't want to compare them too much because Pokemon Go didn't have a lot of critical feedback when it, like I always joke with people, the summer of 2016 was just like a highlight for everybody. Mm-hmm. Like everybody was playing like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. midnight, just playing the game. And I think that Pocket is getting way more scrutiny than Pokemon Go did because the TCG Live already exists, because it's connected to cards and people know what they want to see on their phone. Yeah. Pokemon Go was so new, I don't think people knew how to critique it. They were just like, this is freaking awesome.
Yes, that's a really good point. And I mean, you know what? Another thing, right, that you kind of just mentioned is that I think more people care about Pokemon now than they did in 2016.
I that is unequivocal. I don't, anybody who would, what set, well, let me ask you a question. You and I are big into the hobby, right? What trading cards sets, any of them, name one that was released in 2016?
XY. So the entire era of XY. This Yeah, probably not a good question for me, just because
No. Hold on.
Yeah.
Right, it was XY.
Yeah, so XY
Do you
era.
know which
Evolutions.
which sets?
Evolutions. Yep. We'd have to say, I think Primal Clash came out right before then. So did Breakthrough and Breakpoint. Now XY Base was already out at that point. Because I think this predated the release of Go, because they thought, oh, if we introduce evolutions when we debut with Pokemon Go, it might bring people back into the hobby, and it might do what 151 did and bring back the nostalgia for the 151 Pokemon, right? Which is why, they combined one of the best mechanics to ever be in a Pokemon video game, Mega Evolutions, and, so on and so forth. I think, yes, XY, as far as the sets go, yes, those were the sets I came.
But now, how hard was it to get product? How cheap? Like, it was so cheap. It was so. Most of those sets are still very cheap, by the way. The only one that even did okay that you mentioned was Evolutions.
Yep.
And as a reminder, it was dirt cheap the whole year. Nobody bought.
And Ancient Origins, probably my favorite set from the XY era, has been so cheap, and it's been consistently, up until about 3 months ago, sales for booster boxes, they didn't break like $1,300-$1,400. And this is since 2016, 10 years, right? Next thing you know, Pokemon announces Mega Evolution's coming back, right? And now boxes, I can't find a box for under $2,000, right? Now, granted, I would have been paying $2,000 for these boxes, right? Because I think Ancient Origins is a great set. Very slept on. I'd love the full arts, right? But that's just nostalgia talking.
The point I was trying to make there is I would argue Pokemon Go brought Pokemon back.
Oh, yeah, 100% agree. Absolutely. Even the Pokemon movie didn't do much to bring people back into the hobby.
No. The downtime of Pokemon Go, by far, its lowest was 2011, 2010 to like 2016. Those 6 years in there,
yes,
I would argue was its low. That was the absolute low. And Pokemon Go was so popular, it brought everyone back to the hobby. Everybody.
That's fair.
Like, even if you look at the games, XY, and chat, do not flame me for this, but this is just true. XY, I'm not saying that they were worse games, but they were the least played. If you look at Black and White and X and Y, trust me on this, go look at sold copies. There's data on this. I promise you. Go look at this. Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And remember, in theory, these numbers are supposed to go up because there's more people on the planet, right? Yes. And blah 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 blah.
Okay. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure we'll have to pull up some data here, but I'm pretty sure that the Heart Gold, Soul Silver had similar sales, which is not good. Similar sales to X and Y.
Ooh, okay, dude, that's I'm gonna look this up actually. Yeah, because I want to know, right? Because when I think back to the most played games, right, or the most talked about games, you always hear Fire Red, Leaf Green, right? Those were just some of the best execution of remastered games for Pokemon. And then you hear Diamond and Pearl era, right? Like Diamond and Pearl, as far as games went, people weren't super happy with, especially with the absence of a lot of Fire-type Pokemon, right? But then when Platinum came out, everybody was like, oh my god, bro, Platinum is just one of the greatest games ever, and then Heart Gold Soul Silver came out, right? And you're just thinking, yes, bro, I can't believe it. Then you see the commercial with Dylan and Cole Sprouse, and everybody's like, oh, I gotta pick Heart Gold or I gotta pick Soul Silver, and now at that point in time, I would have thought that Heart Gold and Soul Silver would have done much higher numbers than X and Y because of how good the games were to me. I mean, I gotta say, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, probably top 4, if not top 5 VGC of all time, like Pokemon.
Okay.
VGC.
All right. I got the data. You ready?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
So this is wild to me. I just used ChatGPT. So it's using multiple sources here, and it quotes the sources.
I got you.
But hear me out here, right? So like Ruby Sapphire, right? Remember that was like 2003 maybe.
Yeah, 2002, 2003.
Ruby Sapphire sold 16.22 million.
16.22 million.
And XY sold 16.76 million.
Dude, what?
Yep. again, according to ChatGPT, this is like off of multiple places: GameFAQs, Wikipedia, VG Charts,
and dude,
Financial Times.
That's worldwide.
I think so. Yeah. Here's a comprehensive list of mainline Pokemon games and their global sales figures spanning from Game Boy to Nintendo Switch. And I'll tell you right now, what? Like copies sold.
Oh, copies sold. Okay. I guess worldwide. That I don't know why that number seems so low to me. Right? Like even 20 years ago, there were 6 billion people on the planet. You know, and you think like a worldwide, how many kids?
Millions of copies? You think that's low? Just to be clear, Sword and Shield, and I know that this number is right. Sword and Shield sold 26 million.
Okay, yeah. See, in my mind, I'm not thinking like 40 or 50 million copies. I was thinking like 20 to 25.
Yeah,
but if Sword and Shield's only doing 25, okay, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, that's Sword and Shield, right? Like, yeah, but like, so that's the crazy part to me is if you look at these numbers, like Ruby Sapphire 16. Fire Red Leaf Green was 12. Emerald only did 7. And there's a lot. To be clear, those versions where they're just slamming the two together never do that well, right? You got to be a diehard, like I want to collect all the games because most people are just happy with like playing either gold or silver. They don't need the emerald or the crystal.
Yeah, kind of like platinum. But platinum was just pound for pound a better execution of Diamond and Pearl.
But Diamond and Pearl was 17.6 mil, right? Oh. And people agree, but then Platinum did 7 million.
Yeah.
Heart Gold, Soul Silver was 12. Black and White was 15. X and Y was 16. So like, it was just a huge downtime when you consider the fact that this is the number that's going to blow your mind. Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue. Reminder, there's 3 of them.
Yes.
But it's the first set ever made.
Yeah.
Sold 31 million.
See,
and Gold and Silver sold 23 million.
See, those are numbers that I believe. I don't know why I just thought numbers would be a little bit higher, right? But that's interesting. Very interesting.
After Johto, it really fell off. It really did. Like Ruby Sapphire 16, that's still pretty good, but like that's a huge drop off from 23. You lost. What is that? Like 30% of your player base? Yeah. That's crazy.
So what do you think caused the drop off there? Out of curiosity, right? Because like Johto's Pokédex,
age out. People aged out. It had age out. It had nothing to do with the product. It had everything to do with the player base. Everybody who was playing that, like I think about me, I was a pretty diehard nerd. People don't remember. It was not cool to be a nerd in the early 2000s.
Hell no. It wasn't.
It was not. what today is?
Yu-Gi-Oh collection away.
Exactly. Like what today is with like all these celebrities that love like anime and Pokemon and blah 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 blah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Cool now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hip now. You were bullied for this.
Yeah.
You were bullied for it. So I think most people were like, I don't want to deal with the societal pressure of like this hobby, so they just bailed.
Yes. Now, I mean, God, but to think aging out, right? Because you think about the influx. I mean, how many kids, right, were too young to play the game? Right, and that the difference between red, green, and blue, and then crystal, right, and gold, and going into Johto, it's not like there were 6 years there. It was a 2.5, 3 year difference, right, between when the games debuted. So I mean, did you lose 30% of your player base? Did 30% age out, or did we just not recapture 30% of those that grew up and were old enough to play the game then?
I think it's both, right? Because as a reminder well, think about it. Like everybody's going to buy the first game.
Oh yeah.
Because you want to try it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I don't want to compare the red, green, and blue because there's 3 of them.
Yes.
And it's the first one.
Yeah.
Right. So the better comparison is that second one, which is Johto, right? Gold and silver at 23.7 million to Ruby Sapphire at 16.2. Right.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think it's a combination. I think you started to have people age out from that first gen.
Yeah.
And I think that they probably, maybe the console wasn't as good. Remember that was Game Boy Advance.
And that's
right. There's a lot of factors here. But I think the biggest one, and I will stick to this, Pokemon is cool now. And to be honest, I think it will always be cool. Pokemon will always be cool. It has turned the new leaf. They always talk about the cliche of too big to fail.
Yes.
You're there.
Oh,
Pokemon
God.
is there. It is too big to fail. People love it. You and I are going to love it for the rest of our lives now because it's been accepted. And I think it's hit that point where everybody accepts it.
I would agree with you 100%, which is just crazy to think where we came from, how not widely unaccepted it was, but we were just afraid of being ashamed. I was afraid of being bullied.
No, I mean, I would argue that it wasn't accepted, right? Like, and that we got to be tread lightly here, Critical Hits, but like, you have to be careful because my parents did not want me playing those games. Right. I think that there's a generational thing here too.
Yeah.
Of anybody who grew up in the technological ages. So think, millennials, Gen Zs, etc. I think it's just it's more easy to accept it. Like my dad called Pikachu Pika Puke. Like intentionally. For my entire life, Pika Puke. That's what it's called.
That's hilarious, dude. Yeah, my parents never had a problem with us playing the games, but I was just like, growing up in the South, right, where everyone was like, yeah, we got to be, outside, right? We've got to, jump on the four-wheelers, dirt bikes, hit the ponds, whatever, right? It just wasn't the thing. They didn't want to sit inside or sit on the porch and play, the Game Boy and so on and so forth. But I will say, like, thinking about the numbers that Diamond and Pearl did over Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, I gotta say it's a console, right? Like Nintendo DS, when that came out, dude, I don't know a game that wasn't more widely accepted than Nintendogs.
Dude, yeah, the DS and the Switch. I think that you do have to pay attention to consoles here, right? Yep. Like I think the DS and the Switch were obviously both incredible. I think that the Switch 2 is going. By the way, I pre-ordered it. Like I'm gonna be ready.
Oh,
I pre-ordered it. It's gonna be here. I'm gonna live stream all of Legends ZA blind, no spoilers. I swear to God, every time I say this, people start sending me spoilers, but do not send me spoilers, because I love playing it blind. But I think the Switch 2 is gonna do really well.
Oh, dude, you know what I hate? So we're talking about the price, like the new games that are coming out, the old games that came out, the new consoles. What do you think about the prices of games? The new price. You remember, so growing up, I remember there was a set price, right? And that set price, no matter what game it was that I was buying, was $60, right? At most, I could find.
And that was a lot.
Yes, and you're like, oh my God, this is an arm and a leg. I remember I was so nervous to ask my parents.
It was 40 before that, just to be clear.
Well,
it was $39.99.
Yes. $39.99, right? But then to the point where I was like, man, I'm gonna ask mom and dad, if I can get this game for my birthday or whatever, right? When I saw that $59.99 price tag, I was shitting bricks. I was like, I don't want to ask him for this.
Yeah,
this is a $60 game. Like, what is this $60 of happiness gonna buy me? And just to think about now, being a grown ass adult. There is no way that I can look my wife in the eye and say, "Hey, babe, I just spent $80 on a video game." Like I've still got my DS that I am playing right now. I am still playing Heart Gold, Soul Silver on that bad boy. And there's ROM hacks on my desktop that I can play. Like, what justifies me paying $80 for a new Pokemon game?
I'll be honest, man. I think it's about right. This is a hot take again,
really?
Probably. I do. Here. Let me ask you a question, right? Okay. How much does it cost for you and your wife to go out to dinner?
Oh, now that's okay. Very interesting. That's okay.
Just a normal dinner.
A normal dinner. Are we including wine?
Yep. How much does it cost you to go out to dinner?
All right. If we go out to dinner, general weeknight or weekend, $100 maybe.
And that's for one night. Right now, granted, it's both of you doing it together, and it's it's an experience, and blah 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 blah. But that's for one singular night. How many hours of Legends ZA do you plan to play?
Oh, dude, at least 800.
So if it's $80, how much is that?
I don't want to get into math. I can't do that.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I know. So I think it's right. I think my general advice to people is. There's two shortages in life, time and money. Right? You either have a lot of time and no money, or a lot of money and no time. And some people have both or neither, right? Like the individuals who have neither, by the way, we need to talk, right? If you have no time and no money, you are clearly like, there are things that need to be solved.
Yeah, they're buying $80 video games.
but more than one. And so that's what I've realized is like, you know, I get stretched just by the Pokemon IP. Right, I got people like, hey, you want to hop on and play Scarlet and Violet tonight? I need to go through my Pokemon Go battles and go meet up with my Pokemon Go friends. We got the Pokemon Pocket stuff. Do you want to do a trade? So, like, just within Pokemon, I almost don't have enough time to play the games that I want to play. When you add on to the fact Mario World, Skyrim, like all these things that are coming out, my advice to people is don't try to buy every game.
No.
That's what everybody falls into is like they want the opportunity to play it when they want. And that's a luxury, man. And that's a luxury I don't have. I'm going to pick my 2 or 3 games that I know I'm going to play for the next 6 to 8 months, even longer maybe.
Yes.
And then after that, maybe I'll get a new game. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it because do I think it should cost $100 to go out for dinner? Probably not. But like that's just where everything is right now. You know what I mean? Like you can't expect the video game companies to pay their employees less and charge less for games.
Yes, no, that's a fair point. It just seems to me, man, like $80, what I could pay
it's
for
a lot.
$80 right now, you know? Like, and that's, granted. And now I'm like spending money in general right now. Holy crap. Yep.
It's really expensive.
You know what is just crazy when you talk about prices is the fact that I feel like I'm getting away with highway robbery when I pay £5. Here in the UK, £5 for a freaking booster pack. Right now, majority of the booster packs are like £4.50 or £4 or whatever. But I still feel like I'm getting away with highway robbery, you know. And now I'm looking at a new Pokemon video game that I want, and it's $80 freaking. I
get it. That's I feel the same way. It's like pick the few things that you're going to be doing, man. That's the way I look at it. Like, so that's why I pre-ordered it, right? I knew I wanted the Switch 2 because I knew I wanted Legend ZA on the upgraded version.
Oh yeah.
Right? But I'm not going to do the remastered version of Legend of Zelda. I'm not going to do like I got Mario Kart and I'll get Pokemon. Those are the 2 games I'm going to play.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair. Wait, can you play Legend ZA on the Switch? Like the first Switch?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, you can.
Okay. I was gonna say
they're gonna have for a lot of these games, they're gonna have the Switch version and then the Switch 2 version, and the Switch 2 version is just an upgraded graphics version.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was like, I didn't pre-order the Switch 2 because number one, somebody told me it was $550, and then, or did I say number two? Number one, it's $550, and then number two, lost my train of thought. But yeah, I could play it on the Switch that we have right now. So
well,
I just couldn't imagine.
Now let me ask you a question that I think the viewers might find interesting.
Oh shit, I don't want to know.
Okay, so you don't want to spend $550 on a Switch 2.
Yeah.
But let's play a little game.
Oh jeez.
Would you rather Switch 2 or the Pokemon product for $550? Right. So this is the. Would you rather Switch 2 edition? You ready?
Okay.
Because you already didn't do the Switch 2.
Yes. Okay? Fair.
All right, so Switch 2 or $550 worth of Breakpoint.
Of Breakpoint?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it packs?
Yeah, and you have to rip them all, by the way. You're not reselling here. You're not doing any of that.
Oh, they're packs and I have to rip them.
Yep.
So let's see. I'm chasing the secret rare Gyarados, which right now, last I checked, was only like $70 raw. I'd have to double check. It's been a minute. It's been a while since I've checked. You know what?
Yeah.
Screw it. I'm gonna go Switch 2. If I have to rip all the packs, no, I don't think I could do it. I think I would rather.
Now hold on. So Switch 2 or Pokemon apparel.
Pokemon apparel? No, Switch 2. I wear the same 7 shirts every day.
So we're getting hold on. So how about Switch 2? Yeah. I hope you don't edit that out. Do you see what I'm getting at here though? Is like you're picking Switch 2 over a lot of stuff. Now, if I were to say Switch 2 or no, of course not. I'm not going to say or a Lugia single. Like we all know what you're going to pick.
Well, yeah, I'm going to take the alternate out Lugia. Like, come on, at least give me a chance here, you know?
All right. How about Surging Sparks ETBs? Again, you have to open them.
Surging Sparks, dude, it's got some great artworks though. When you think of like the Braviary.
Yeah, but what is that like? Can you get like 2? How much is Surging Spark ETB right now?
2? What are you talking about? Well, the ETB retail, right? We'll say retail's $60, right? So I'm getting.
Isn't it 80?
Huh? Wasn't it
80?
I'm saying retail, not market. Screw these market prices. I don't talk about these market prices. Get the hell out of here. No, okay, yeah. So market for every ETB right now feels like it's 75 or $80. So granted, you're only opening 6 or 7 ETBs with maybe your highest rarity being secret rare and like out of the box. So maybe you're hitting gold 1. No guarantee on SA or SIR. So yeah, I mean, I'm still probably gonna go with the Switch 2 if it's only $550 and we're saying $75 or $80 in ETB. If we're saying retail and we're going like 50 or 60, I'm going Surging Sparks, okay? But if we're going market,
all right. So if you guys are listening to this, pick a few topics that you would like me and Scout to play Would You Rather on, because I think that could be super fun. And it could be anything. It could be like, would you rather Pokemon edition and shoot like Charizard on your team, right? Would you rather Charizard or Greninja? And then we can get into that. So okay, I think that would be it.
Neither.
I think that'd be an interesting
Decidueye.
Hot take. I hate you for that. No, God, that is Decidueye is pretty cool. I'll give you that, but
no, I mean it's not even like my top 30 Pokemon, but Charizard and Greninja are they're so overpowered and so strong. And like every format of Pokemon, whether it's Pokemon Go or the TCG or VGC, it doesn't matter. They're just so freaking powerful. It's ridiculous.
I'll say this: Greninja has not had its time in Pokemon Go.
Really?
No, it's seen very limited play in certain cups.
Yeah, you're telling me Primarina has had more playability than Greninja?
Way more.
Hot take.
Primarina was extremely meta in the Master League for a while.
That's a fair point. Hot take, as far as like generations go, I feel like if Primarina just had a little bit more sauce to it, that entire starter generation line would have been, on par with like Gen 4, 3, and 1.
Alola?
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think the Decidueye is solid. I think Incineroar, people have love-hate relationship with that because you want to talk about a Pokemon that's been busted in its iterations.
God, yeah. Even the TCG, it's still freaking powerful, but nobody uses it.
Yeah. You know what? This will be probably our last thing, but I have one last hot take.
What you got?
And Koraidon and Miraidon are great legendaries, and I'm tired of the hate.
Really?
Yep.
Why do you like them? I'm interested. You can make this super short, but I just want to know.
Dude, they are so sick. They are like rideable dragon Pokemon that are tied to the past and the future. I personally think both of their designs slap. I don't know where people are coming off and they're like, they always post this is what legendaries look like today and this is what they used to look like, but then they use like epic art of like Groudon and Kyogre, and then they use like derpy cartoon art of like Koraidon, Miraidon. I'm sorry, the design of Koraidon and Miraidon is just as badass as Kyogre and Groudon. I'll say it. They are. Like, I'll tell you right now, when the shinies for those come out, because I think they're like the silver shinies. Oh,
they are.
People are gonna lose it.
Okay, I want to agree. I want to agree with you. I want to agree with you as far as like them being on par with Groudon and Kyogre. But what I won't disagree with you on is I do think you're right. I do think they are really good legendaries. I do think people do crap on them way too often.
Listen, they get hate because you ride around on them and you fed them a bunch of sandwiches in the game. Right?
So like that was a tad bit goofy. But
right, like that, yeah. Yeah, I get that. I can see where people are coming from. But to say that like they're not good legendaries, those things are freaking like their moves and their abilities.
Yeah.
Like when Miraidon freaking Electro Drift. First of all, sick signature move name.
Yes.
Right? And second of all, he like spins up and then just freaking Gatling guns at somebody. It's awesome.
That is pretty cool. But I will say, now that we talk about that, and this is just my last comment of the video, is that I think that Pokemon games, right, in the last like 6 to 7 years are starting to make the entire fan base mentally weaker. I want you to think about that. When you think about like all the villains that we have now, like the villains that we grew up with and what they were doing and like what the dark lore was behind them. And now we have Team Star, Team Yell. I just want you to think about that. Okay?
You can't say that. No, you can't say that when the last Pokemon game is the first game that they've murked somebody.
Ooh, fair. Fair, but I mean, come on, you know, all the lore that we were talking about.
To be clear, they actually, like, spoilers, guys, spoilers. They actually killed her and him. Sada / whatever his name is.
Sada.
Like, they dead. Like, not like, oh, they went off to a Pokemon farm. No. They were like Arvin, your parents are dead. Like, straight up. So it's like, listen, I get it. Team Star can be a little bit like, I don't know what you want to call it, a little bit fruity, but like, it's like, they also murked one of the main characters of the game.
You're right. What was I saying?
So, you know, there's that. Also, I don't know if you can call Team Star fruity, but
that's fair. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so very much for joining us for episode 1 of the Critical Hitz Podcast. We hope you guys had a blast of a time. Now, if you have any topics that you want us to talk about in the future, please let us know down below. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pokey Scout signing off.
Genelac, critical hit.
Deuces.